Good evening, you're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Joanna Ho. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. President Xi Jinping opens the Communist Party Congress by defending zero-COVID policy and development blueprint. The president also praises Hong Kong for moving on from the turbulent times, while vowing to achieve reunification with Taiwan by force if necessary. And a welfare group wants to convert COVID isolation facility into transitional homes. President Xi Jinping defended China's zero-COVID policy and touted the military in his opening speech at the Communist Party's 20th National Congress. He also made it clear the country will continue to develop under its own set of rules. Winna Wong reports.
President Xi Jinping was welcomed into the Great Hall of the People in Beijing under the sound of music and coordinated claps. His predecessor Hu Jintao, Premier Li Keqiang, and others followed. The national anthem was played. Before there was a moment of silence for the late Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai, and other prominent party members. Xi Jinping then took to the stage for his opening speech. Presenting his report, President Xi said the theme of this Congress was to uphold socialism with Chinese characteristics and to continue bringing the country forward under these terms without forgetting the party's founding spirit. On COVID, Xi doubled down on his dynamic zero approach. He insisted the people's war against the pandemic will continue to save lives and protect health. Xi touted China's economy, pointing out the national gross domestic product grew from 54 trillion yuan to 114 trillion yuan over the past decade. It now accounts for over 18% of the world economy, he said. Promoting unity, the president said the CCP's main goal now is to lead Chinese people from all ethnic groups into the next century. We will advance our nation on all fronts, taking a Chinese path to modernization, he said. 江山就是人民，人民就是江山。 The country is the people, and the people are the country, he proclaimed when speaking of the population's well-being. Xi vowed to improve income distribution so that people will be encouraged to achieve prosperity through hard work. The six-day National Congress, which is held every 5 years, is a gathering of the highest-ranking members within the party. In this 20th meeting, Xi Jinping is set to secure an unprecedented third term, while major shakeups are expected within the leadership. That includes an announcement of who will replace Premier Li Keqiang as the nation's number 2 after he retires in March next year. Winna Wong, HKIBC.
On Hong Kong, President Xi noted the city had gone through turbulent times but has now emerged from the chaos. He also said the party will unreservedly pursue reunification with Taiwan and refuse to rule out the use of force. Here's Winna Wong again.
Xi Jinping brought up the special administrative regions Hong Kong and Macau a number of times throughout his report. Apart from reiterating that the party will continue to adhere to the one country, two systems policy and ensure Hong Kong people rule Hong Kong,
面对香港局势动荡变化
he also referenced the anti-government protests 3 years ago. We exercised comprehensive governance over the SAR in accordance with the Constitution and the Basic Law, he said. We were able to help Hong Kong transition from chaos back to order. As for Taiwan, Xi said China has been facing serious provocations by separatists. The CCP has demonstrated strong determination and capability to safeguard national sovereignty, he said.
坚定不移推进祖国统一大业。
He said the party will push forward with the great cause of national reunification.
是中国人自己的事。
Solving the Taiwan issue is the Chinese people's own business and is up to us to decide, he added.
但绝不承诺放弃使用武力。
And while China strives to do that peacefully, we will never promise to give up the use of force, Xi declared. He made it clear his hostility is aimed towards an extremely small number of people pushing for Taiwan independence, and not at the majority of Taiwan compatriots. Wen Wang, HKIBC.
Political leaders in Hong Kong praised the report's directives on the SAR. Chief Executive John Lee pledged to formulate policies based on the principles laid out in the speech, while the DAB party urged everyone to contribute to the national development. Chief Executive John Lee was quick to offer his congratulations on the victorious launch of the Communist Party Congress. Writing on social media, he noted President Xi Jinping had mentioned the one country, two systems principle on numerous occasions. This shows that the central government attaches great importance to Hong Kong and Macau, Lee said. The SAR leader pledged to take cues from the president's remarks when formulating policies, starting with his maiden policy address this Wednesday. The city's largest political party, the DAB, echoed the chief executive's views. It said that Xi's work report has injected new impetus into Hong Kong's transition from the era of stability to prosperity. The party urged everyone to get a better understanding of the spirit of the Congress. Vice Chairman Holden Chow was confident the city can contribute to the national development, such as facilitating exchange with the rest of the world.
If there is any joint venture business between China and other countries, they can consider make full use of our Hong Kong common law systems. And also we have a good connection with the rest of the world. We are able to reach out to other countries and tell Hong Kong story and tell China's story.
Tam Yu Chong, the city's sole representative at China's innermost political circle, the NPC Standing Committee, called on different sectors to unite and implement Xi's instructions to the SAR. Tam credited the introduction of the national security law and an electoral reform for helping Hong Kong restore order over the past few years. In other news, there are no signs of COVID cases going down in Hong Kong. There were another 5,564 infections as both local and imported cases went up. 5 more people infected with COVID have passed away. More than 1,600 COVID patients remain in hospital, including 8 who require intensive care. The observatory could issue the standby signal number 1 tonight. Nisat, which means fishing in Cambodia, has intensified into a typhoon as it moves closer to Hong Kong. It is expected to come closest tomorrow at a distance of 400 kilometers. Winds will pick up in the next couple of days, with the temperature dropping to 19 degrees on Tuesday. Conditions will improve later this week when Nisat departs the region. With the queue for public housing getting ever longer, there are growing calls to increase supply of transitional homes. A welfare group has suggested converting a COVID quarantine center into transitional units, Macy Mock reports.
Built earlier this year, the Kai Tak Community Isolation Facility currently houses COVID patients with no or mild symptoms. While it's meant to be temporary, the modular units are fitted with all the necessary equipment, including lifts. Now an NGO is eyeing a potential conversion into transitional homes for the needy when the facility is eventually decommissioned.
With this sufficient provision, I would expect more grassroots people, those living in subdivided units. They could move into this kind of transitional housing earlier.
The Kai Tak facility could provide 2,700 units. 10 times the size of transitional housing projects undertaken by the Hong Kong Council of Social Service, which Chua heads. He estimated the conversion works to take 3 months, after which the units can operate for 5 years. Around 5,000 transitional homes are currently on offer, just a quarter of the government's target. Chua said demand still far outstrips supply, as over 240,000 applicants are currently waiting to be allocated a public flat. Only 1/4 of tenants from the council's social housing project in Sham Shui Po could get on a public flat. He suggested allowing future tenants to stay longer, but admitted there is no guarantee they will receive a public flat when the lease ends. The Society for Community Organization also called for an increase in transitional housing supply. Deputy Director Si Lai-shan urged authorities to set a goal of 3 years in which applicants can be allocated a public flat, compared to the current wait of 6 years. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Passenger traffic at the airport more than doubled last month. Passenger throughput in September stood at 525,000, a jump of 132% compared to last year. The airport authority said the relaxation of inbound quarantine spurred the increase, which was most significant among flights to and from Southeast Asia. But cargo and flight movements dropped 25% and 16.3% respectively, possibly due to global supply chain disruptions and geopolitical tensions. The airport operator said it is working closely with the aviation industry to prepare for air traffic recovery. Overseas, a huge fire broke out at a prison in Iran known for detaining foreigners and political prisoners. Explosions and gunshots could be heard in videos circulating online. It was not immediately known who fired the shots. State media claimed that 8 people were injured after a fight broke out between prisoners in a workshop. The prison has long been criticized by human rights groups for its brutal treatment of detainees. The unrest came amid weeks of anti-government protests in Iran after the death of a young woman in police custody triggered an outcry. Thousands of homes in Australia could go underwater in the coming days after floodwaters from swollen rivers overflow into towns, while residents were told it's already too late to leave.
I've never seen it like this, and I've lived here all my life. I hear that the last time it flooded like this was in 74 or something. I was around in the 93 flood, and it wasn't nothing like this. It's I don't know, it's just surreal.
Roads in and out of Echuca were already flooded, trapping residents. Most of the small town north of Melbourne has been inundated after days of heavy rain blamed on La Nina. There were similar scenes in Shepparton, where water levels in the nearby Goulburn River is expected to peak at 12 meters on Monday. More than 100 Australian Defence Force troops will arrive to provide support with evacuations and sandbagging efforts. On to the weather now. Turning cloudy with showers tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 25 and 29 degrees, even cooler on Tuesday with a low of 19 degrees. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Joanna Ho. Thanks for watching. Good night.